careful with this music. Oh man. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, 1 second here. I'm trying to figure this out. Oh. Hey, okay, Twitter's working. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm streaming, but the worry here is I've changed a lot. So we're gonna talk about that in a minute and talk about some gaming related stuff and just cool off for a little bit. Let me check this stream. I want to make sure that my YouTube's working also, and it is. Okay, perfect. I appreciate it. Okay, all right, so we are officially good to go for the night, and it'll be a good night. So get ready. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. Talk about the Game Awards, and you guys know I do a lot of coverage for that on the day that it's happening. Put out tweets, all the information, any new releases, anything that I feel is worthy, kind of put it all up in one big tweet as it happens. And then also I live stream it, and I am officially a co-streamer for the event as well. So, you know, I got permission to go all out. Usually what I do for the streams, I only showcase the trailers as they pop up, and all the little jibber jabber in between I won't showcase as much, because I don't want to overdo coverage, if that makes sense. If y'all feel different and you're like, hey, I want to see the whole thing, we can kind of do that too. Just chill out and watch it together, popcorn style, like a movie. I've never done that like that, so we'll see what happens. Y'all let me know what y'all feel. Let me grab my water. I forgot to bring it over here. Here's my water, man. Oh, get it in here. All right, I'm back. Hope everybody's good. So a couple things to point out before we get into talking about these games and talking about all the new stuff that's coming, breaking some things down and kind of just diving down the rabbit hole of this week. Understand that this is the last big event of the year. So companies like Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, they don't have to be a part of it, but it's really good publicity, and it's gonna help a game get put out in the radar of millions of people. So they would want to be on the show. What's cool about this show is last year's was so long and they decided to cutting it off. So we're not going to get overload of nonsense, you know, like nonstop a million games of just like really weak games that are people are not that interested in, small games. And there's nothing wrong with small games, but like we don't want to spend almost 3 hours watching the show. And I think that's what they learned from their mistakes of putting out way too many, you know. Just some thought, some food for thought. But so it should be a really good show when it comes to that, because now they understand like, damn, bro, we went overboard. So you're gonna get a lot of cool stuff. There's gonna be games like these right here that I'm showcasing a little bit on the screen that are gonna get announced right away. And the reason for that is because they're coming out exactly when the new year starts. So they don't have E3 to wait for, you know, games that are coming out later next year don't have to be at this event. So the games that are coming out early, for example, Forspoken, definitely one of them. Resident Evil 4, good publicity to put out right as you go. There's plenty of games like this. Hogwarts, it's coming out early in February. Dead Space coming out January. All of these games would love a spot. I'm not saying they're gonna be there, but pretty sure some of them will if they get the opportunity by the publishers. So those are games that I would easily predict. It's kind of not a prediction, it's kind of like sure shot. It's kind of cheating using my estimation. But yeah, so those are the type of things that you want to look for and kind of see what's going to happen. And then there's a bunch of cool games in here that we can kind of get into and talk about. I kind of really feel like this game's going to get heavy promotion for the next couple weeks. It looks cool, right? It's very different as far as like enemy types and things like that. Like if you look at it just pictures wise, really weird enemies, and it's just an out there game, and I think it can do well if put out properly. You know, Focus has been on fire putting out some of the best games in the industry. But yeah, we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna vibe out and just cool off. I will get into all those theories and predictions and for sure things that are gonna be there and all that stuff in a minute. We're not gonna talk too crazy about that. Wanted to get into some personal stuff, so if you're here for that, please stick around. So normally I stream on almost 30 platforms. Sometimes it is 30. Sometimes I'll stream on Instagram and like other social medias. It takes a little extra work to stream on those, and I really don't do it all the time, but I usually stream in over 25 platforms. And I've decided not to do that for 2023. And today I'm also already on that boat without warning the other platforms, which are where my viewers usually are. I cut off most of them. We have YouTube, we have Twitch as my two primary, because those are the biggest ones out there. And there's other ones, just, you know, simple stuff that we can throw into the mix. But those are going to be the foundations. So if you're there right now watching, which I see a couple people here and there, you're blessed to keep me your one and only. Well, not your one and only, because we're on other platforms too, but you get me. So with all that said, the reason for this is next year I'm changing a lot of different things. And you know, starting early this year, slowly been changing things as I went along, and I'm gonna keep on changing things as I go. So that's what's going down. And then like on a personal note, you know, next year I got to focus on some business stuff. I've always done things as a creator and just for my free spirit, let's just say. Love it. It's fun, you know. And I never want to lose that. but I do have some new projects and things that I want to pick up and get rolling. So you're gonna see some changes. That's all I'm saying. You feel me? So that's what's going down. I hope y'all are prepped for it. I feel like it's gonna be good. One thing I realized, and I'll say it right off the back, and this can be an introduction, an apology to all of my communities, because they want me to be what everybody else is, and I never did that. So I'm not apologizing for being myself. I'm apologizing for not understanding that some of this stuff is business. I wanted to do things my way and not care about the business side, and like forcefully just be me and not focus on monetizations or doing anything like that. For example, when I was doing giveaways for like 5 years in a row, I did giveaways, and I started realizing like people come around for these giveaways. People only care for these giveaways. I'm not going to allow that. And I stopped doing giveaways for a while just to boycott it and see where they're at with it. So understanding that, like, you know, a part of the business and giving back to your community is the giveaways and doing certain things for the community, even though it's business modeled, you know, to monetize and to move forward. It is beneficial to the community because that's what they know and that's what they're used to. The best thing about streaming for the community is having a reward system, right? Something that they can get out of outside of just hanging out with you and chilling, because they're giving up their time and energy. So all those little things, like I used to do a lot of little stuff and I stopped doing some of them. I never did them for the reasons people did them. That's why I did them just casually without even thinking about it. So just a learning and growing thing, and it's like realizing the community deserves a structure. So we're going to build a structure for the community. We're going to build foundations that are going to keep the community together and put everybody in a good place. And it does involve monetizations and stuff like that to keep everything flowing, so I can have mods and people that I have a part of the team officially, you know, and it's not just some wild loose cannon Wild West type of thing. So that's what's going down. All right, that's all we got. And then now we're gonna that's me from our personal and professional aspect. Expect a lot of changes. Some good things are coming, and I'm humbled as to all of the greatness that's coming from you guys, because of you guys. All right, with that out of the way, we are going to play some video games, and I want to just chill out for a little while. But I did want to talk a little bit about some of these games. I just talked about them earlier, like Hogwarts Legacy. This is like the Harry Potter game. I don't even know anything about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I've never watched Harry Potter's, never read the books, anything. I just don't. I've never been interested. And this game looks beautiful, and I would assume those that are into these universe would absolutely adore this game. I know I would. Visually and like gameplay wise, I was like, yo, this just looks fire. If I was into the whole movies and books, I would want to try to see what this is, you know, just my opinion. Then there's a game that I'm actually extremely excited for, and I think is going to be one of those best games for next year. Just the way it looks and feels, and everything about it just has a swag to it that fits what I would love. And I'm not going to put the audio. I'm going to let it just play. But this game right here has parkour, something that I'm a fan of. Great movement, and you're going to be able to create a good flow with your combat. Personally think that's important, and I'm going to be deep in the waters on this one. So I'm excited. Hopefully I can review this one, because there's only a few games I want to review every year. There's probably like 5 or 6 games a year maybe that I actually really care for deeply that I'm like, yo, I gotta get into this. And this is one of those that are like, it's very different, you know. And the creators, you know, are being creative and very unique with the abilities she has. And just check it out. You're like surfing through the world. So it's a lot of cool little things that make this game feel fun. You know, because it's not always about something I was talking to my mom about is the fact that not every game, everything has to be realistic. She's like, oh, I only like realistic movies. You like all the fantasies. And it's like, no, I like realistic movies as well. They're amazing. But the creativity in the fantasies are mind blowing. I never would have thought of something insane as this or that, you know? So those are the type of things that intrigue me. And this game right here, Forspoken, will be one of those that will capture my imagination, hopefully. Of course, I'm not going to talk about it much, but Dead Space remake, I'm assuming it'll be good. I never played the first one, so I don't have no type of indication. All right. And these games, this doesn't have most of the stuff I like. A friend of mine was telling me how they think this is going to be game of the year. I'm like, it's a remake, but who knows? Maybe it'll be that good. I've never had a remake become game of the year. The Last of Us Part 1 this year was amazing, but I can't give it that. So if you look here, you know, this game looks probably one of the best Resident Evil games when it comes to visually. Looks incredible. And I think it's going to be a good time. We'll see. Something happened to me. I played all of the originals and then even this one, but it came a point where I just stopped playing them. And I feel like now that they're coming back with new ones and the classics, it feels like the best time to come back to this game and this type of experience. Just some food for thought. Anyway, that's another game there, and there's a lot of games, and none of them, I don't think all of them are on the store right now, to be honest with you. I think there's still plenty not even released yet, and I'm gonna go and look to see if I can find some. I don't know if the next game that I want to talk about, and again, I didn't plan this to be, well, actually I did plan to stream today, but I had to wait like 2 hours for my mom just to reply to me on a text. Thanks. I'm gonna Star Wars. There we go. I love the so there's Fallen Order, and here's the reason I want to bring this up is Fallen Order to me was probably the best Star Wars Disney game, and it's one of the best stories since they took over the Star Wars. You look at the trilogy, you look at all the solo movies. I mean, Rogue One is another great one that I think. There's Rogue One, there's this. I don't know, I have to make a list of like what are the best Disney version Star Wars games. But yeah. Survivor's gonna be announced on Thursday. That's the reason why I came over to this. Not in here. Should be. Would be nice. But Survivor will be announced tomorrow. I'm sorry, Thursday, not tomorrow. That's gonna be popping. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to geek out a little bit on Thursday. It's been a while since I've hosted a watch party, let's just say, this year. I don't think I have this year. Well, none of the big ones, you know. E3 didn't have a normal routine, and like I always do them, but it's been a slower year for me when it comes to that stuff. My head's been in the clouds, folks. But yeah, I wanted to just talk about some of that stuff and kind of expectations, and we're gonna go down my Twitter in a second here. Let's see how safe that is. Oh man. Not just my Twitter, maybe we can go on to some platforms, and we're just gonna go scrolling through social media. Not social media, but the web. All right, so it's gonna probably not be safe out here, folks. Not at all. Big announcements. So we're gonna just literally ruin my whole stream and have this stuff up, which is probably a bad idea, folks, but it's fine. We'll be fine, I hope. Let me see. I'm gonna make this bigger. Okay. All right, so on my website, what is this page that I'm on right now? Excuse me. All right, so this is an announcement of one of the games that I believe will probably be one of the biggest reveals. It was one of the best, in my opinion, Star Wars. So this sequel has to be pretty good. You got one of the greatest producers and creators making it, so it should be good. I'm talking about Star Wars. All right, so we got Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's gonna be interesting. So anyways, I wanted to point out about this, talk about this just briefly. It's releasing early next year. They're gonna announce an official trailer, drop it, I'm sure, with the release date early next year. It's done by Respawn. These guys are one of the best developer studios. They made Titanfall 2. That story was an amazing experience. The multiplayer is a lot of fun. It was from the future, and what I mean by that is, like, they're setting the trend for first-person shooters, and I think they're gonna, you know, continue to do that. And with this game, they set a trend of creating something amazing, you know. So there's that. I'm guessing the assumption, you know, I tweeted about a couple months ago that it'll come out in before April or April. So I still stick by that. And the same thing goes with Spider-Man. First of all, let me just do a disclaimer. Sony PlayStation moves at their own pace and time. They don't need the Game Awards show. They're bigger than the Game Awards show. They have a bigger audience than the Game Awards show, in my opinion. In the sense of, they just put out classics, right? So everybody got that respect. Now, that's not a problem. The problem here is there's no other event that they're hosting. I don't think they're gonna have a Sony conference right before Christmas. All right, they'll probably have a digital showcase of a game, but what better place to put out a quick 2-minute trailer, whatever you want to, how many, 60 seconds, I don't care what it is. Gameplay would be the best, right? So this Spider-Man, for example, let's go right into this real quick. It's not going to be much, by the way. It's not like they put out a big trailer. It's just a teaser here. This is the only thing that they put out, so there's not much out there known about what's coming. Okay, everything is assumptions from here on out, but this is a good indication that, okay, it's time for them to put something out. They haven't put anything out in a while, so it should be good. So as you can see right here, this is a really cool outfit. And the awesomeness of having both Miles and Spider-Man, or both Spider-Mans, let's just call them that. It's gonna be really fun. So we don't know what's to come when it comes to, is it gonna be a gameplay trailer or just a release date with a little bit of cinematics? You know, I think most of us that are hardcore into the industry don't want to just see cinematics all the time. Like, bruh, give me some Venom gameplay, you know, put him in the mix. Is he the good guy or the bad guy? Is he both? And I think he's going to be both, but that would be amazing, right? In my opinion. So those right there are guarantees, in my opinion, if you go to my predictions that are coming this year, right? And I'm going to go down a couple of games that are coming out early next year. This is a list of like what's coming out early next year, and it's only good. I'm only going to point out the stuff that I think is big or that I really like, that I'm like, yo, this is a must showcase. Come on now. So far I gave you Spider-Man, I gave you Forspoken, and Star Wars Survivor. Those three are definitely, should be some big hits in there. Anything with Sony they can do on their own time. They don't need to advertise much. If they do, then cool, but I don't see it, right? Like, maybe I tweeted that Horizon Forbidden West. Let me actually go to my tweets very quickly. Horizon Forbidden West DLC is going to get announced, called Burning Shores. PlayStation doesn't have to do it. They can do that tomorrow on Wednesday and say, hey, check it out. Burning Shores right now, DLC. They can say that, and that's it. And it's, the buzz is heavy. So it doesn't even matter. And it's the same thing with the Star Wars titles. They don't need the Game Awards for that. They're so big that people are going to go crazy for it. Same thing with Zelda. Now, Nintendo doesn't have much of a presence, and they need to remind the community that, hey, we're top dogs. So I would assume they're going to come on. That's why I put this on the list. 007 is more of just me feeling like it's about time they're going to announce it. And hopefully they do. The rumor of a Black Panther game, I think it's probably a fun one that I could love to see. It's kind of like a Wolverine game in a way, to be honest, because he has the same qualities as far as like claws and etc. So who knows? Control 2 was something people have put out there in the public from the studio recreating. We'll see. Kojima's gonna announce two things. I'm putting Death Stranded here, but really I didn't want to put that. I just put it just because it's the safest bet and the easy thing to predict. But he has another project with some really great actors, and whether this project is what you think it is or it isn't, we'll see on Thursday. Tekken 8 already announced that they're gonna be there. 505 game title. This is a new one that we don't have no clue about. And of course, Hazelight Studios. I'm sure that it's still too early to for them to be like, oh, we're releasing a game next year. I would think they're gonna just do a teaser, small, because the studio is not that big. They've been making a lot of money, and they're one game of the year and all that with It Takes Two. And I love that game. I've had a really good time playing with my mom and my sister and nephew and niece. So yeah, so there's that. And then on the bottom down here I put Sony, Xbox, Nintendo teasers and reveals for early next year titles. So this is the time for them to take advantage of the game spot. If Game Awards allows a spot for Xbox, I would be cheesy and cram it with like 4. If it's a 2-minute spot, I'll put 4 30-second teasers of big games, the biggest games I got coming up in the future. Just buzz, or a release date for one that's coming next year. You know, either that or just do gameplay, man. Make people happy. So those are some of these setups here, and I didn't go down the full list here. You got PSVR 2 most likely making an appearance. I would love a demonstration of PSVR, but it's hard to show people through video. You know, VR is such a special experience. There's no video that could show you how it feels. And then after that, it's anybody's game. All these announcements down here, like Alan's Wake, Aliens game, you know, the new Assassin's Creed game, Avengers. Avatar, I would love to see some gameplay on that. There's a long list of games that are really cool coming out. And who knows what it is. And I'm sorry, this is probably the bad visual. You can't see everything I'm showing. That Doom game looked interesting. It looked like it could be fun. We'll see. I'm interested in the movie more than the game. But anyways, this is a game that I personally care about and I'm excited for. It's called Flintlock. It's a small studio. The studio is not the biggest, so I don't think they'll be at the Game Awards. But that is a dope game. If they do advertise it, that would be fun for me. But yeah, so those are just some of the games. Hyenas just had a beta, which a lot of people played, and I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna be deep into it, but there's that. There's plenty of other games in here. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm just looking through, trying to see if I see anything that stands out. Everything is kind of like mediocre-ish for the most part, these games. I mean, maybe some people like Star Trek Resurgence. I have no idea about that. There's a bunch of Star Wars games coming out. So Ubisoft, Quantum Dreams is making one. EA, which is the Survivor, which is going to be the best one. We already know that one is top tier. I think Ubisoft and Quantum Dreams has a lot to do and they don't want to copy them, so I would assume it's gonna be a totally different style of game. We got Street Fighter 6. Suicide Squad should be there on the sense of they need some type of information. I think they delayed their game all year this year, and then now they're in crunch time, I would assume. And outside of that, I don't see much in here that I'm like, yeah, those are the main staple games that are out there right now. Then of course there's a lot of games that haven't been officially announced or anything like that, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, just a quick breakdown on some of what's out there. Wanted to do a quick video about it, kind of just put it out there, discuss it a little bit. We'll see what happens. The future is bright on these games, and I'm excited. Personally, all I need is Metal Gear remakes for the two originals. I'm talking about 1980s Metal Gear. Those original games that nobody knows about, like, you know, even Metal Gear fans that are like not like casual Metal Gear fans are not like aware of those games or ever played those games. So it's important that if they remake those, a lot of people can get into the series. And they were really cool, you know, as far as like they had unique boss fights, and it's like, okay, in the modern day you can make those special. And then on top of that, a lot of little mechanics that they created, you know what I mean? Getting the keys to open a door is electrifying floor. You have to destroy the panel, and there's gas in a room. You got to wear a mask. And this is all in the 80s. These games came out and made these mechanics. So, excuse me. So it would be fun to see it in the modern version. Konami can play it safe and just remake part 1, 2, or 3, and people will love it. You can easily just package them all and release them. There's a lot of little details like that that could happen for people. So yeah, just expect anything. Expect anything. Yeah, so that's what the deal is. I don't think I want to talk or get into that anymore. We're gonna cut off the stream shortly here. But that's what to expect, in my opinion, for the Game Awards. I'll be covering it I might do a little bit of both this year. I might mix it up, and normally I kind of talk in between, and then when the announcements come, I'll stay quiet. But we're gonna do it the opposite. We're gonna really binge watch this joint. You know what I mean? And it should be a good time. But yeah. Hold on a second. Sorry. All right, so we're done with all of the hoopla. I probably should have just recorded this and posted it because I was gonna get off right now. I wanted to make it as short as possible. Tomorrow we're gonna do another one of these, and it's gonna be more visuals, graphics, and all that good stuff. And we'll get into it. Hey, Elden Ring trying to put a stake on the ground. I don't think they're gonna win the battle. I think they won. I'm sorry. I think they won the battle earlier this year, but they're gonna lose the war. And what I mean by that is like Elden Ring is probably one of the most hyped games that I've seen in recent history. Like the hype level of it is exaggerated. Casuals went and played this game. You know what I mean? Like casuals were deep into this, trying to experience the game, and I think it's amazing. It's awesome the fact that it's gotten that to that point, you know. But I do feel, how do I see the underground? There we go. But I do feel like it's not even close. Like God of War Ragnarok is so superior, and I don't think it's fair. Elden Ring, it's like the devs got a lot to grow. Oh no, I wasted my, got a lot to grow and a lot to figure out. And I think by the next iteration they will have something even better. But that spark of that, like, oh my god, this is the greatest, you know, like of all time type thing. It's not going to be the same. You know, just my opinion. Hey, how do I shoot my gotta be careful. These guys will kill you in a heartbeat. And I don't think I have a lot of currency on me right now, but still. Oh, see, that move right there is the killer. It would take out half your health. But so that was my problem with the judgment. I think there's an issue, like how do you judge such a fantastic thing compared to the rest when the hype levels are different? You know, an example is Horizon Forbidden West is a better game. It just is. Now, it's hard to say that when the hype wasn't the same and all the hype was stolen by this game. For a guy like me, for example, I'm a Horizon Forbidden West fan. And admittingly, when this game came out, I've spent what, 400 hours on this game? You know? So it's not like I'm just saying it to make it sound good. I love this game. So there's no negative feelings towards this game at all from me. But the facts are the facts. You know, if we're honest about it, it has a lot of flaws. And Horizon doesn't. The only difference is Horizon didn't have the buzz level that this game did. So comparing them side by side, I feel like 100% Horizon surpasses it. But the game that beats both of them is God of War. And again, this is preference, right? So an example, like for me, NBA 2K is the game I'm gonna spend the most playing this year. Sifu, one of the most spectacular experiences I had. So difficult for me. And then it clicked. Something clicked in me that made me say, wow, this game's just so good. And then you go down the line of like Elden Ring. One of the things I love about it is that I could make a bunch of different builds. So I'm not stuck with playing one style. And I think a lot of games tend to have like, you know, a couple different variables, but not dramatic. And this one has some dramatic stuff that I thought makes it fun and interesting. So that right there will allow you to replay so you can play in a different way. But you're still replaying the content in the end of the day. And that's where, like, for example, let's go to Horizon. I don't have it here on this account. I mean, on this system. Horizon has a lot of variety as well. But it's like 4 variants with four variants with a bunch of different alternate play styles inside those variants, you know. And then the same thing with God of War. We'll get into it right now and I'll showcase. God of War has a lot of variety as well, you know. And you're like, oh, it doesn't have the amount of abilities as the Elden Ring does, where you can grab all these. And that's a lie, because you can do a lot in this game. The difference and the issue with a lot of people's mentality is, you know, the grind. With this game, I played through the story. I pretty much unlocked 99% of this. If I played through Elden Ring story, I only got 20%. So there's a grind to unlock the rest. But you look at the skill trees here. First of all, you get a lot of variety here with your range attacks, your melee attacks, and then you have techniques on things you could just do, adding to your already play style to add extra. Okay. And then that's for each weapon, you get that. So you're getting stacked on top of each other, which doesn't look like a lot, but it is a lot. And then you can disable certain abilities to play certain play style if you want to be more aggressive in your face, or you want to be more cerebral. You know, it's the same thing with the spear. So you have these 3. Then you have your actual ally, which it can be Freya or what's this guy's name? The kid. I can't believe I forgot it. Atreus. He's also very powerful, so you can use their abilities and go crazy with that. Right? So that's just one aspect of the actual combat. Then you have your chest, your armor for your chest, wrist, waist. This is going to be dynamic because you can create different play styles and put on different pieces that really complement each other, make it really, really good. Right? And there's different combinations. There's set pieces, but then there's, let me throw this with that and mix it up and make it something unique. And then the same thing goes with the amulets. Amulets are very powerful. They can change the way you play. If you put on specific ones, you're going to be very overpowered. So if I put on 3 pieces of Niflheim, for example, I'm unlocking harder melee when my health is high. So this is going to be good. So I put on 3 pieces. Now I'm good to go. I can do some work. And then there's these that are just single. Any little piece that I put will change the way I play and add extra play styles. So there's different builds. Okay. Then of course your shield you can put on and do a bunch of different things with that. There's multiple different styles. And it's funny because from the outside, even for somebody like me, I could look at Elden Ring and say, damn, they have a lot of variety there. I think it might have more than God of War. And it's not true, even though it feels like it is, if that makes any sense. You could see this, you know, with Elden Ring, you have a variety of weapons. You know, I don't know the number of the classes of weapons. You have your heavy weapons, you have your small daggers, you have your, you know, swords, you have your staff, right? And there's a certain amount of them, but they all do the same attacks. So it's not like you get variety with different daggers. Only thing that the daggers have is one special ability equipped. But with this game, I get 2 abilities for each of the weapons, right? And then I get an attachment that also adds an extra ability, extra buff, extra this, extra that to that specific weapon. Okay. And then that happens the same thing with my blades, the same thing with my spear, the same thing with my shield. I get all that variety. So you get multiple variety. So it looks from afar away, it's like, oh, I just have, you know, a little bit. No, this has a lot of variety as well. And that's where it's interesting, and the argument and the conversation gets deeper down the rabbit hole. If we go technical and like statistically speaking, and the reason I bring that up is because one of the topics that I wanted to talk about, I always talk about journalism in gaming is a hot mess. And I say that being a part of the problem, because I give my opinion. And since I'm so strong-minded, people are like, oh, he thinks he's right. Everything he says is right. He thinks everything he says. That's not true. I don't care about right or wrong. If I say I like something, I like something. And I bring it back to, for example, the grind for Elden Ring. I love it. Open world exploring. I love it. That's fun for me. I enjoy it. It's a good way to just get out there. And what was cool about the grind for me specifically for Elden Ring is it's a challenge. Like, I'm not just going to walk around and then that's it. I have to go and get to an area and fight a boss. And now, sure, the bosses tend to be a variant of the boss you fought earlier with, you know, electricity this time. Instead of him being a regular boss, now he has electricity or something, or he's like a stoned boss so he can't get stunned. So those are the variables that make it interesting, but it's still good, you know? And then you go to God of War, where they have their bosses that are high quality bosses, incredible boss fights, you know, like real good experiences, not these cheesy ones like Elden Ring had. So it's kind of one of those things where like my opinion doesn't matter, because that's all preference. But what matters is like the factual side. It's like, okay, Elden Ring has 100+ bosses, bro. It's better. It has better bosses. It's like, actually, let's look at it realistically. And I'm gonna discuss it shortly, and hopefully wake some people up to the fact about it. So we'll get into it. Anyway, that's my opinions on those 2 games. So for game of the year, I don't even have Elden Ring on the best game. It's not number 1 for sure. God of War Ragnarok is. And second best is Horizon Forbidden West, because it's quality over quantity. I believe Horizon Forbidden West hit it on the nail on every aspect above Elden Ring, outside of the hype, outside of the exploration of like, okay, let me go here. You can do that in Elden Ring. I mean, I'm sorry, in Horizon, but you don't have the same encouragement because they're so focused on giving you a great story. So it's a complicated conversation, man. We're going to get down that rabbit hole. We got to do it, actually. We got to do it. I'm going to probably do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. Game of the year debate. All right. So be ready for that. It's going to be a fun one. That's it for today, man. We're not going to hold you for a long stream. You're going to get a lot more shorter streams from me, a lot more focused. And Sorry, I was reading some. But yeah, so we'll get into it. We'll go down that rabbit hole and enjoy ourselves tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get some guests over and see what they got to say about it. And it's gonna be interesting to hear their debates and conversations. But yeah, we'll get into it. All right. So thank y'all for watching, man. It's been fun. I haven't streamed all week, literally 7 days. It's rough when I don't stream. I absolutely miss it. But we're changing things, guys. We're changing things for the better. It's gonna be rough for a little while, adjusting, but once the adjustments are made, it's gonna be so spectacular. All right, all right, all right, all right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Have